We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being number 2, you're gonna go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparations perspective, bringing you those Negro hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. How y'all doing, family? Thank you so much for joining the live. Welcome, one and all. Listen, today's topic is serious, okay? It's getting really, really serious out here. I want to really show you all that although we are in the fight for reparations, although we are in the fight for delineation, although we are in the fight for anti-hate crime bills, anti-Negro hate crime bills specifically, there are still certain amendments that we need to protect. What you see right now is so much bigger. Hi, Shanae. Nice to see you, family. Thank you so much for joining the live. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. What you see right now happening with the fallout and the assassination, or whatever you want to call it, the murder, I don't put him on the level that these white folks are putting him on. What you see happening with the murder of Charlie Kirk has really morphed into something altogether different that we, as Negro freedmen, need to be very concerned about. I have been victimized by the censorship, okay? Mark Zuckerberg has come out and stated that he pretty much started striking all of our channels, all of our pages over on Facebook at the behest of the Democratic Party. Okay? It cost me 5,000 subs, and I'm shadow banned over here on ScrewTube because this is the way we've been effective in making reparations a national debate topic. It is the grassroots moving in the social media spaces where we've been able to find each other, to lock arms, to come together, to fight collectively throughout the country for the Negro freedmen. And so what you see happening on both sides of the aisle, as I'm going to show you today, is both parties are interested in controlling us, akin to how North Korea controls, hold on one second, family. I apologize, my buggy daughter. Sweetheart, I'm live. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? Love you. Sorry about that. Let me silence my phone. What you see happening on both sides of the aisle, they're both interested in a dictatorship. They're both interested in muzzling us and making us akin to North Korea. And I'm going to be sharing with you what it's like to live in North Korea when you don't get to critically think or speak on your behalf. It can literally cost you your life, and it can literally imprison you. Like, this is serious. Now, there are a couple things I want us to understand. It's not just the repugnant clans. You see, what Negroes tend to do when the repugnant clans are in office is they get amnesia. They get amnesia over what the demon rats were doing to upend our first and second A when they were in control of the country. I've got some reminders for you today about how that works. And my whole thing is this. I am so over us being a day late and a dollar short on issues. For example, folks all over the country can clearly see what has happened to the Negro in the state of California, how we've been legislated out. But they don't believe the fat meat is greasy till it's on their doorstep. They don't want to take a cue from us and weaponize their votes, run for office, do whatever they can to seize control of their politics. They don't want to do that because they don't see it. And so what I'm trying to get you guys to understand with this broadcast is we cannot wait until first A is ended. We cannot wait until 2A is ended before we sound the alarm. So I want us to get beyond the BS that's spinning around the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's not what this broadcast is really about. This is to show you, better than I can tell you, what this country is going to become if we don't lock arms with white folks on this issue. And we don't unsubscribe from Hulu, Disney Plus, ABC. Like, this is serious. You need to know that when white folks catch a cold, Negroes catch COVID and die. Okay, like, it is on that level. We will be the ones they target. You know how they have black identity extremists, terrorists, or however they label that, okay? Black identity extremists. You don't see them doing nothing with the KKK. They can sit up here and talk about how Antifa has to end. They always try to deny that the KKK was born of the very democratic party our people have collectively been voting for all the way to bottom caste in the country of our ancestors. They don't talk about upending them. Okay, they don't call them domestic terrorists. What do? They shift it and they decide to try to find a way to blame someone Negro. Okay, even with Charlie Kirk being murdered, what did they do? They started, well, they didn't start making death threats to our HBCUs. That's been ongoing. That's what our people failed to realize. That didn't just start. It's been ongoing. And they were actually disappointed that it was one of their own. Okay? They were hoping, crossing fingers and toes, it was someone other than their own right there in Utah. But if they could have found a way to blame it on us, they would have. So they don't have nothing against the domestic terrorists. They can reign free. They can murder children at these schools. I have to speak in pig Latin. Like I said, I'm being shadow banned. Most folks don't even know I'm over here right now. They can do all manner of things and get away with it, but not the Negro. So just like I told y'all, when they got rid of Trump's accounts over on Twitter, that it wouldn't be long before we would be implicated, the same thing happened. Lost my race book. All these things just started happening. Snowball effect. ScrewTube and shadow banned. It's a nightmare. And this is the way we communicate, rally people to calls to action, and they're coming for this next. They want to become North Korea. So I'm not going to belabor. Let's get into it if we're going to get into it, okay? Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. I'm going to wave the banner down there so you guys can see. Okay, so let me share my screen. We're just going to clip through these as quickly as we can so I can do my declare and decree, because, honey, the forces are busy against Negroes, okay? The forces are very busy. So I'm just going to clip through them one at a time and make my commentary, okay? Let's blow this up and start it over.
I don't know when it's going to hit the news of what happened today, but the blowback from this whole ABC News canceling Jimmy Kimmel Live is historic. Not only are people canceling their Hulu app, their Disney Plus apps, their ABC apps, people are boycotting Marvel, studios, Marvel Comics, movies, and any Disney movie. People are protesting outside of Disney in Burbank today. People are canceling Disney cruises, and people are canceling trips to the Disney parks, Disney World and Disneyland here in California. So screw Disney, screw ABC. You were concerned about the FCC and Donald Trump having power over you. And remember, you make your money off the people, not off the... So that was your mistake, getting scared by the FCC. You should be scared by the people who put food on your table, and that's us. And you're canceled.
Okay, so basically that is just an overview in case you're late to the party of what the events happened. And what I want to stress, hi, Root Trackers by Yaira. Yes, you can Zelle me, sweetheart. Thank you, beloved. I also have the PayPal.me/the Rep Perspect scrolling in the bar below. I appreciate you. I do have to thank the sponsor of last week's show. I'll pull that up at a little later time, but I got to get this broadcast moving. But I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. So what I want to stress to you guys is that censorship does not just impact white folks. It impacts those of us who are co-founders of the grassroots contemporary reparations movement. It has already impacted me. I don't know that it impacts others the way it impacts me, because I spoke loudly against the ABJ, the Axine They, Ovid K. Okay, I still can't say those words, even though we know clearly that it was a pandemic. I still cannot say those words because they will strike this broadcast if they are able to pick up those kind of words from me. I came out loud and strong against the demon rats. Those things, Mark Zuckerberg got in bed with Joe Crow to actually wipe out 5,000 of my subs. This is real. You can just Google some of these things because I can't bring up every slide that I want to show you. So don't believe the hype. Kimmel kind of kicked this off because what you find is that the government and corporate are in bed to make this a dictatorship. The government does not want us talking to each other. They don't want us disrupting their billions and trillions of dollars that they are robbing and pillaging the storehouse of. They don't want us to disrupt their plans to ethnically cleanse the Negro by economic genocide with immigrants. So if you allow this to happen and don't get in bed with these boycotts of Hulu, Disney, and the like, I'm here to tell you we're going to become North Korea, Russia, these communist countries where people don't have a voice. You're going to be blown away to hear what the North Koreans undergo for speaking out against the government, for trying to bring in things outside the government. The government has total control over what they watch, over what they listen to. I mean, the horror. I want you guys to tune in. It's too long to show it here, but the National Geographic on North Korea, you must watch it, because you have to be scared straight into understanding that reparations and delineation is not our only fight in this country. Our first and second A is a bona fide fight, because we can't move as a block if we can't speak to each other. Social media, the revolution has been social mediaized, and they're looking to upend it. That is what this bigger thing is about. I'm not going to give you guys, thank you, Yaira, for your love, your donation. I sure appreciate you, Sis Star. What's up, Herb Saint? I see you, Pinky Wells. I see you, B1 Beauty Supply. Thank you all. Keep the chat lit. We got a lot to cover. I thought I'd be able to feed in more topics today, but we got to chew the elephant one bite at a time. This is very important. Get your notepads out. I can't stress this enough, that there is a bigger scheme. Even the racist Charlie Kirk was for free speech. But you see Pam Bondi trying to make a delineation between free speech and hate speech. Why? To protect the Zionist, not the Negro. Nobody cares. Charlie was paid to denigrate the Negro. Paid handsomely by billionaires to denigrate the Negro, to say things about the Negro that the collective can't. Okay? But now, all of a sudden, that he's been murdered, Pam Bondi and Trump want to start messing with the first A. The first A, oh, by the way, that he came in office. He ran on an executive order to stop the government from impeding on our right to speech. See, this is how I feel about it. You don't have to tune in to me. You can even block me. You can say I'm not interested, but don't take away my right to say it like I see it. The same was true for Charlie Kirk. He can say whatever he wants. He's got the first A on his side. Okay, but so do we. And we need it more than them, because this is how we're moving and disrupting whole elections. So the demon rats don't want it either. Let's keep going. I'm just going to show y'all the slides as they appear and talk them through, because, child, it's a lot of slides, okay? So here we go. Oh, this is not one I want to show right now. This is a whole nother topic. I'll bring this up on next Sunday, but I want to speak with you guys about Trump and his EO on H-1B visas. And I want to speak with you all about how he shifted millions in funds to the HBCUs, tribal schools, amid deep education cuts. Now, I want to show you this real quick, because we're going to bring this up and really speak ad nauseum about it. So I remember, I think it was Pinky, maybe it was you, I can't recall who specifically was talking about Trump taking away $65 million from the HBCUs. But here I'm reading how he's actually cut money. Pritzker addresses undocumented students as Chicago's Hispanic colleges lose federal grants. What I'm getting an understanding and an understanding of, Trump is taking money from these illegals, which are the demon rats, as you see Pritzker here from Chicago, the governor of Chicago. What Trump is doing is taking them off of Section 8, taking them off of food stamps. He's pretty much trying to starve them out. Now, before anyone comes here and tries to charge me with being xenophobic, let me explain two things. Disclaimers. Both parties suck for the Negro. Let's be clear. Okay? What I'm calling for is a protest vote. You know, akin to the Demon Rats and how they told y'all to come out here in 2020 and vote against Trump. I'm saying vote against the Demon Rats. That's what I'm asking us to do. I'm imploring upon us to do. And the second thing is, I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm anti the government's weaponization of immigration against the Negro to ethnically cleanse us by economic genocide. So all the things that our people can't get, that these demon-radically run cities and states are giving away to illegals, Trump is dialing back on that. And as a result, to my understanding, that's what resulted in this. The additional funding pushes the Trump admin's 2025 investment in historically Black colleges and universities to more than $1.34 billion. So I'm just trying to say to you all that in this moment in time, the repugnant clans are the lesser of two evils. MAGA in particular, rhinos could give zero damns. Rhinos are in bed with the demon rats, okay? They're one and the same. So this is still a developing story, but I do want to give you a little teaser because this is coming up where we're going to look into. So here we go. The Hill, Trump redirecting almost $500 million to the HBCUs. We're going to get into this for next week because this first A is a priority for me because I want us to boycott all things Disney and ABC. The last thing we need, first of all, these corporations owe us a gang of money for reparations. Let's just start there. Now they want to upend the first A and the second A, but right now we're just going to deal with the first A. This we will do next week because I got a whole lot of things I want to bring in about the H-1B visas and this college piece in one broadcast. It needs its own, okay? So we'll do that next week, I promise. Let me stop sharing that and share these other slides I got going. Thank you guys for being here. I'll be over to read your comments momentarily. Let me just walk this out. Hold on. Just a second. Now, this is AOC speaking on misinformation. This is just one example that I want to show you tonight of how the Demon Rats also want to upend our first A. And they're the biggest proponents. Our government is the biggest proponent of misinformation and disinformation that they're displacing onto we the people to find ways to upend our first A. Let's hear what she's got to say from the horse's mouth, because folks love to tell me that it's all Trump. Trump been in office how many months? 9. But everything is Trump's fault. So I want to show you what these demon rats were on right before Trump was elected. Hold on one second. Let me start it from the top.
You know, I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing.
Now, keep in mind that these are the people who are responsible for forcing everyone in the country, not me, and many Negroes didn't do it, although our jobs were threatened, things of this nature, right? These are the very people, your doctors be damned, you take this ABJ or you're going to lose your job. These are the people who uplifted Fauci, who we know was complicit in helping to create this in the Wuhan, China labs. I can go on and on and on about the misinformation and disinformation concerning they leveled an all-out assault on Trump for the very things they're guilty of. Disinformation. Didn't Crooked Hillary say that Russians colluded in that election in 2016, which is why she lost? Let's keep going. I want you to keep that in mind as you listen to this nonsense I'm going to show you from the Demon Rats.
To have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false. And so that's something that we're looking into. You know, I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy, because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false.
So you need to understand that both parties want this to be upended. The government wants control over our critical thinking, our free speech, our right to protest. They want us to become a dictatorship here. I'm telling y'all, it's happening in real time. And these are the subtle ways it starts to creep in. And we need to cost Disney more than $4 billion. Why? Because they're worth over $204 billion. $4 billion ain't scratching the surface. DEI was not the fight for Negroes. Yeah, it cost Tarjay about $12 billion. Okay? It cost Tarjay about $12 billion. Speaking of which, I did have a correction to make. I think it was last week's broadcast when I was talking about the household wealth of the Negro. Not just Negroes, Blacks in this country. I made a mistake in what I was sharing. I kept saying we aren't even worth $1 billion. I meant the Negro is not even worth $1 trillion. So how can we buy places like Essence? How can we, Essence Magazine? How can we buy BET? This was the video that I did where I was talking about, I think it was, if Negroes can't flourish in the country of our ancestors, no one will. And I was going up against O'Shea Duke Jackson's video, trying to act like we need to stop whining and crying over the fact that immigrants are buying up our intellectual property and excluding us from our own narratives. And I made a quote. I stated that of the $3 trillion household dollars we once shared, 14%, which is mostly immigrants, share in $2.93 trillion. 86%, which is mostly Negro, share in less than $700 billion since the pandemic. And so when I was looking at the value of what these entities cost, to make a point to O'Shea that with a median income of $56,000, the lowest of all the groups in this country, the Negro was hardly in a position to purchase Essence or to purchase BET. And I made a slip. I said, we're not even worth $1 billion. I meant collectively, our collective is not even worth $1 trillion. And the stat that I showed was from O'Shea saying that Blacks in America are worth $1.7 trillion, which is half of what we were once worth. What's it been? Maybe 5-6 years ago. Okay. I've been fighting this fight since 2016, almost 10 years ago. Okay. So listen, I wanted to make that correction because I don't like to be spewing misinformation or disinformation akin to our government. So let's keep going. I want to get through all of this so I can get to your comments. This is very important, family. Don't let them get you caught up on the dum-dum one of my favorite YouTubers was pretty much mocking those of us who unsubscribed from Hulu and Disney Plus. She was basically saying they couldn't wait to drag you into this fight and get y'all out here, you know, upset. And now you're sitting up here upset over Kimmel. This broadcast is to let you know this has nothing to do with Kimmel and everything to do with censorship and ending that, okay? We must end the censorship, family, or we're doomed. We're doomed. Let me share my screen. So, Lee says the Biden-Harris administration attempted to establish a disinformation governance board at the Department of Homeland Security to label information. It did not like to label information it did not like as disinformation was squashed by H.R. 7648, introduced to prohibit the use of federal funds to establish Democrats' DIG, Disinformation Governance Board. So she's calling for a hypocrite alert. I have to agree. They're hypocrites. And wait till you see what they just did to up the demon rats, whom our people by and large vote for. Wait till you see the number of demon rats that actually voted to protect Kirk and that level of bigotry. It's going to blow your mind. We're getting to it momentarily. Let's keep going through the slides. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. Okay, what's that? From Obama, putting government agents in newsrooms to demon rats pressuring distributors to justify carrying Fox News to Biden's Disinformation Governance Board to Hunter's laptop. Democrats aren't against government interference in free speech only when the Republican clans do it. Don't get it twisted. Let's not do revisionist history. Okay? Let's not go there. Hold on one second, guys. I want to get rid of some of these slides. Close that out. We're clipping. Okay, let's go to the next one. They're in bed together on this issue, y'all. Trump just showed his hand. It's tragic, but it's real. It's in our face, which is why we the people have got to fight back with the only thing we've got left, okay? Got to withhold our dollars since corporate is trying to get in the bed with it too. Hold on one second. Let me share this. This is a great compilation, okay? A great compilation of demon rats affirming that misinformation is bad for probably 5 minutes because we all know their beliefs are only good for whatever they are attacking for the moment.
You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others.
Hold on one second. Back it up. Blow it up. All right.
You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others if you are for providing misinformation out there.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
There are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
If people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block. It's really hard to govern today.
Oh, yes, it's hard to govern today because we're busting all of you in your parlay tricks as the leaders of disinformation, misinformation. You all should have your first day revoked as you're sitting up here trying to revoke we the people. Ain't that right, crooked Killery with 3 Ks? Your whole Russia hoax has been exposed.
As a matter of corporate responsibility, Twitter should be held accountable and shut down that site. It is a matter of safety and corporate accountability.
The First Amendment is not...
You hear Skamala, Miss Do Nothing for the Negro Skamala, as she pretends to be one for your votes.
absolute. It does not protect any single thing anyone says. And there are limits, and that's important. And what this committee has been trying to do for the last year and a half is to chill the federal government from monitoring what is going on social media.
When you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence. Very clearly incitement of violence. I believe that when it comes to broadcast television like Fox News, these are...
Okay, let me impede here. These are the same demon rats who are sitting up here encouraging the people in their demon-radically ran cities and states to impede on ICE, whom the majority of Americans voted for deportation, closed borders, including myself and 28% of our electorate. You just heard her say that the repugnant clans are inciting violence. They're inciting violence. The governors and the mayors of all of these demon radically ran cities and states are inciting violence against ICE. That's why Trump has to bring in the National Guard. They are going against the will of the people. Let's keep going.
Subject to federal law, federal regulation in terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't.
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways.
Okay. You hear it for yourself. These demon rats are not exempt from wanting to upend your 1A. Y'all better wake up and fight back with the only things you've got. Your vote. Okay? One of the things you got to understand is that the white folks, they are going to fight for their first and their 2A. What I'm imploring upon the Negro to do is to fight as well, because even though you're Negro, you're Black American, and you don't want to become what I'm about to show you next. Well, not next, but it's coming up as we clip through. Hold on, sharing some more. Oh, that's the one I want to get to. Hold on one second. What is that? Hold on, let me close that out. Okay, I want to read that one towards the end. Let me stop sharing that. Okay, hold on one second, guys and dolls. Okay. It takes a minute to share this stuff, y'all.
Constitution.
What do we do about it? They're going to crack down on it, but in an arbitrary way.
Who cracks down on it? Who decides what it is? And by the way, don't we have a First Amendment right to even have misinformation?
Exactly. And Charles, in their regime, you can know for a fact that their misinformation will not be targeted. We saw CBS just publish these heavily deceptively doctored clips of Kamala Harris.
Right.
That's misinformation.
Right.
But does that get penalized in their ideal regime? I don't think so.
Right.
And I saw The Atlantic today was calling for, like I just said, a massive crackdown on untruths and things of that nature, because now it's a misinformation.
Constitution.
What do we do about it? They're going to crack down on it, but in an arbitrary.
Yeah, that's the problem. Y'all remember how Trump sued, was it CBS? Because they were editing Kamala. Remember that? They were editing things that she was saying on the campaign trail to try to make her sound brighter than she actually was. But we are the problem, right? Wrong. You got to understand, family, this will not bode well. Hold on one second. Let's keep going. Belon F. shared, there's an all-out, no-holds-bar war on truth occurring right now. Disinformation and misinformation are nothing but words Democrats and their sycophants in the mainstream media use to describe information with which they disagree. And lie seems to be progressive's word for truth. Most of what comes out of the mouths of uni-party politicians is less than truthful and often a bold-faced lie. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Russian collusion, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. The laptop allegedly belonging to Hunter Biden bears all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. January 6th was an insurrection. Ukraine is winning the war against Russia. China is a partner, not an adversary, etc., etc., etc. After sad, etc. This is your demon rat party. And their disinformation, misinformation that they're leveling at us. Let's keep going. Hold on. %48 of Democrats support criminal charges. Okay, this was during the Ovid case, so I'm going to be speaking a little pig Latin. At the time, 48% of Democrats supported criminal charges for anyone criticizing the Ovid K. Axfe. Now, that's how my channel got struck. That's how I became shadow banned. That's how Mark Zuckerberg ended up erasing 5,000 of my subscribers on Facebook. Democrats in Congress secretly pressure cable providers to ban conservative outlets. Biden tried to have critics banned on Twitter, then lied about it. Now the Senate Dems introduced a bill that would allow liberals to fine anyone posting information they deem to be misinformation or anything critical of liberals. Radical liberalism is a threat to America and civilized society. I just want to show y'all better than I could tell you, because everybody likes to blame Trump. He ain't the only one. He is not the only one. Now, the Republican Party has become the party of misinformation and disinformation, says Books Our Passion. This is extremely disturbing. One example of this is spreading the disinformation that the radical left is responsible for the killings taking place in America. This is absolutely false. You could grok it. Well, we all found out that it was one of their own that took out Charlie. Okay? So yeah, both our government, Trump is really becoming a major disappointment on this issue because he ran on protecting the first A. Let's keep going. Y'all don't want to become North Korea. Y'all about to hear it. Just a second. I'm sure it's coming up in all these slides I got open. Lord have mercy. What is this? Hold on, family. Okay, I don't know why that one's open. I'm trying to just get through these. Hold on 1 second so I can get to your comments. This affects us, y'all. We will be on the chopping block. All of our stuff will be shut down before theirs will be shut down. What is this one? Representative Jim Jordan on dismantling the new Disinformation Governance Board. If Republicans gain control of the House, we're not going to pass the appropriations bill unless that language is there, because we're going to protect the First Amendment. Well, I don't know anymore. Let's hear what he's got to say, but I don't know. It's hard to tell who's.
Yeah, but Congress, she's not going to.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, but Congress, she's not going to. So that's the thing. I mean, what are you going to do about it? You know, you
start that over.
Yeah, but Congress, she's not going to. So that's the thing. I mean, what are you going to do about it? You know, you have been pointing out this hypocrisy now for years. What can you do about it in this position today? And what about if the House gets the majority in November? What are you going to do about it, Congressman?
You write into the appropriations bill, no money in the appropriations for the Department of Homeland Security can be used for the Disinformation Governance Board, which is going to limit the speech of the American people. That's how you write. You write write that into as a writer on the appropriations bill, and you tell Chuck Schumer and you tell the White House, if the Republicans are in control of the House or in control of the full Congress, we're not going to pass the appropriation bill unless that language is there, because we're going to protect the First Amendment. That's the leverage we have, and we're going to have to be willing to use that if, in fact, the American people put us back in control, which I think, frankly, they're getting ready to do.
Well, okay, so we did, and we're watching, and it's looking a little scary, but if I've got to choose between parties that would protect the First A, I believe the Republicans would do it more so than the Demon Rats. They want to shut us down, for real. Like, they seek to ethnically cleanse us, so I know they don't want our voices in these spaces, especially given how powerful it was this last election cycle to upend them. They're still very salty about that and blaming us instead of looking in the mirror. Let's keep going. What's this one? Republican officials are calling for people to snitch on posts they see as problematic to try and get these people to lose their jobs. Some Republicans have become incredibly hypocritical after Charlie Kirk's assassination, says new statements. Let's listen to what she's got to share.
I think we need to just call out how distressing this is. And firstly,
hold on, family, it keeps jumping.
I think we need to just call out how distressing this is. And firstly, the sort of distinction between free speech and hate speech, that is not something that you have heard the right in America talk about prior to this at all. It's been free speech no matter what. There was virtually no condemnation from many of these figures when, for example, Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked about the attempted kidnapping of Gretchen, I forget her surname, the governor, about the firebombs that Democratic politicians have received through the mail. And that's before you even get to January the 6th and the riots and the attempt to overthrow US democracy. I think it is absolutely right to try and condemn the glorification of violence, but that's not what we're seeing here. We're seeing people who are saying the assassination of Charlie Kirk was entirely wrong and abhorrent, but equally he said some very toxic things that were have contributed to a climate of polarization in the US that sadly makes political violence more likely. You're seeing comments like that lead to people, American citizens, being fired. You're seeing Republican officials calling for people to basically snitch on posts that they see as being problematic and to try and get these people to lose their jobs or lose their funding or lose their licenses or whatever. It is incredibly hypocritical, and it is also it has all of the hallmarks of something that has been thought about and coordinated for some time, in the sense of how do we make sure that criticism of the Republican right and Donald Trump is suddenly made illegal. Well, now they've got the perfect excuse, and I think we shouldn't be afraid to call that out.
Period. The end. You must call out both sides. We've got to fight for our first and second A. There's no other way around this. I know folks want to make it like we can just stay outside on these issues, but we really cannot afford to. Stand by. Which one is this? The party that silenced a sitting president by kicking him off social media and also tried to create the Ministry of Truth. It has no business claiming that they are for free speech.
So much for the party of free speech. I'm sorry, weren't you the same party that took a sitting president off of X and removed his account from Twitter? So much for free speech. Weren't you the same party who celebrated a flood in Texas because the kids' parents voted for Trump? You're claiming Charlie had no empathy, but where's yours? Oh, and weren't you the same party that censored us on Facebook for having different views about the 2020 virus? Took doctors' licenses away for speaking out about its cure? Fired people just for voting? You're right. So much for free speech. You have some nerve to say that. Free speech doesn't mean protection from consequences if you incite violence. And we can all agree violence is wrong, right? Right? Actually, no, we can't even agree on that. And aren't you the party who used force against Trump? Aren't you the party who assassinated a political commentator just for speaking on campus and social media? You're right. So much for free speech. People are fighting for it, but you don't get to pretend that you care when it's inconvenient. And what I don't get is somehow you're still the ones lecturing everyone about morality. You don't get to pick and choose who deserves your morals. That's not morality, that's just selective outrage.
I like what some of these people have to say about this because it's absolutely the truth. Let's keep going, then I'll get to your comments and pray us out. While he was entitled to have and express his beliefs freely, some of them are offensive to me and to the many people targeted by his invective and vitriol, he continued. They do not reflect the highest and noblest values of America. I concur. This is Democrats explaining their opposition to House's Charlie Kirk resolution that I'm about to show y'all how many Demon Rats actually voted in favor of it. It's going to turn your stomach. Stand by. You see, you can't be opposed to Charlie's right to free speech without condemning your own right to free speech. What you can do is check out. You don't have to tune in to Turning Points and listen to people spew racist, venomous, just denigrating things about the Negro. You don't have to tune into that. But I can't be for my first A and not for theirs. That's not how that's going to work. It's either going to be for all of us or none of us are going to have it. That's how that's going to work. Hold on one second, family. The level of Georgie Putin says the level of unchecked white supremacy fascism that this country is being subjected to is brought to you by both political parties and billionaires. Billionaires hire Charlie Kirk to spew all of the BS, and the Demon Rats are not pushing back at all against dystopian censorship. He's absolutely correct. They're in bed together. The government wants to take our voices and our guns. Okay? And we need to fight back, family. We don't have a choice. Hold on one second. I got to close these out because it's getting in the way of the other things I'm trying to show y'all. Just a second, please. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. Okay. Just a second, family. Thank you for your patience while I get through these slides. I want to show this again because I liked what it said. We're not the same. Charlie denigrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And yet Megyn Kelly, and I can't remember who her co-hosts were, they were trying to raise him to the level, Charlie Kirk, to the level of a MLK. So I love this picture. I opened up the broadcast with it. We're not the same. And what the post says at the top was just beautiful. Sango's Wrath stated, the very idea of white supremacy is believing that most basic and mediocre white man is equal to or greater than a great black man. I love what he had to say about that. Absolutely the truth. Stop sharing that. Let's go back here. It's sacrilege, truthfully, honestly. Okay, hold on one second. Almost through with these slides. I'm going to share this one. Dr. Simon Godek. Anyone still considering the DNC to be a democratic and fact-based party should observe how these two representatives justify the restriction of freedom of speech. No right given to the people of the United States is absolute, and that includes the right of free speech. Representative Linda Sanchez. Protective measures were taken to take down disinformation about vaccine bays, about the nature of the virus bay, and about protective measures we could take, including masks, at Jerry Connolly, it's increasingly apparent, he goes on to say, that many Democrats are post-truth and anti-democratic. Politicians claiming that men can be women, COVID gene therapies were safe and effective, and masks limited the spread of this alleged dangerous virus are better suited to an asylum than the House of Representatives. They cooking. They are cooking. Hold on, let me back this up so you can hear it.
No right given to the people of the United States is absolute, and that includes the right to free speech.
Protective measures were taken to take down disinformation about vaccines and about the nature of the virus and about protective measures we could take, including masks, including social distancing.
We are not trying to censor speech. We are simply trying to create factually correct information to prevent harm to people.
It was public health measures to protect lives. Again, something should be celebrated.
No right given to the people of the United States is absolute, and that includes the right to free speech.
Protective measures were taken.
Let's
to
stop
take
sharing
down
that. You hear the disinformation, misinformation. All of that came out after the fact. After many people were vaccine vague, injured, and died, including my late mom. Rest in paradise, mother. Stand by. Just a second, family. Oh my God. I got so much open. Hold on 1 second. I wanted to go to, in the namesake of time, Lord have mercy. Hold on, family. Just give me a second, please. I got to close out some of this stuff. Not that. Hold on. Okay, I'm just going to read through some of these quickly so I don't have to keep stopping and starting. So this one is from Thomas Massey. Some of these are a little dated, but I wanted to make my point. This one is from October 6, 2023. The Democrat Party has transitioned from denying the U.S. government is engaged in censorship of ideas and information to rationalizing censorship because truth and free thinking are dangerous to the rest of the Democrat platform and big government in general. Okay, R.D. Valianis states, the GOP and the Repugnant clans are gaslighting everyone into thinking Charlie Kirk is some martyr and insisting that he never said the things that have been proven by his own words that were recorded by his own podcast and his speeches. You cannot deny what he said. We have the proof that identifies the factual words espoused by this hateful individual. There is video of him making these inflammatory comments about those he hated. Do not allow the GOP to continue their propaganda of lies. I want to share this video. Stand by. This has to be memorialized here. This brother spit
when
fire.
Trayvon Martin died, they held meetings. I'm going to lose my mind if conservatives keep pretending like mocking Charlie Kirk's death makes you some disgusting, horrible human being, especially when they reacted to the death of nearly every Black person in the last 15 years like this. Like, when Trayvon Martin died, they held meet and greets with George Zimmerman and asked him to sign bags of Skittles and cans of iced tea, and the gun that he used to kill Trayvon Martin was auctioned off for like $250,000. Like, the hypocrisy is insane. Every single time a Black person has been the victim of police brutality, you guys have dug up their entire history to try to prove that they somehow deserved it. But when we use Charlie Kirk's own words, you say that we're heartless and disgusting people for it. And even though I know that the entire conservative platform is just built on hypocrisy, the amount of gaslighting that I'm seeing is actually crazy. Like people saying, well, we never celebrated anyone's death. We never mocked anyone's death. We felt bad that those things happened. Like, we saw your reaction in real time. Your digital footprint is out there. Like, the same people who were just mocking Alligator Alcatraz, saying that immigrants were going to be the perfect meal and taking their families there for photo shoots, are trying to claim they have a moral high ground because we won't mourn the person who enabled that culture in the first place. You guys are delusional. You've genuinely lost it.
Yes. Now there's a gentleman that has actually been expelled from college, a Black gentleman that they're doing a GoFundMe for. He was expelled from college for mocking Charlie Kirk's murder in the same way they mocked Trayvon, they mocked Mr. George Floyd. Like, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, this one is the Republicans leveraged Charlie Kirk's death to declare war on free speech. That's happening in real time. Republicans leveraged Charlie Kirk's death to declare war on free speech. I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. Right-wing influencers have produced thousands of posts and videos demanding that anyone who speaks ill of Kirk should have their personal information published and be fired. Dozens of people from all walks of life, including airline employees, doctors, and college professors, have been fired for alleged disrespect of St. Kirk. Blessed be his name. That includes simply repeating some of the things he said in context, which apparently got Karen Attiah canned from the Washington Post. The Trump regime, meanwhile, is plotting state persecution. Vice President Vance took over Kirk's live show for 2 hours, during which he said, when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, May, call them out, and hell, call their employer. This is J.D. Vance. Vance also used an article in The Nation to make a bank shot attack on philanthropic groups like Open Society and the Ford Foundation in an attempt to cut off funds for progressive organizations. Trump's grand vizier, Stephen Miller, who joined Vance on the show, was more menacing. With God as my witness, we're going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American people, he said. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name. Attorney General Pam Bondi added her own threats. There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there's no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society, she said in an interview. We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech. She later unconvincingly attempted to walk that back, claiming she was only talking about specific death threats. In short, it's an all-out attack on free speech rights in this country. And my whole point in this broadcast is the time to speak up about it is now, not when we've already become North Korea. Okay, that article, if you're interested in reading more about it, is by Ryan Cooper, September 17, 2025. Republicans leverage Charlie Kirk's death to declare war on free speech. Moving on. I'm trying to get through these more quickly. So, like I said, the magic of Disney has faded, says David Nicholas. Disney reported an $18 million loss on streaming and poor box office numbers. The woke bug bit this once beloved brand, leaving many Americans disenchanted. But we've got more work to do because, like I mentioned, they're worth about $204 billion. What we just did to upend our subscriptions and cancel vacations and, all manner of things to hurt Disney and ABC. It only hurt Disney about $4 billion so far. So we still got some ways to go. If we really want to make our boycotts effective, we've got to all collectively move as a block on these issues in protection of our first A. This has nothing to do with Kimmel losing his job. That was just the catalyst to the country being outraged and doing what was in their power to do, which is unsubscribe and cancel Disney and ABC. But it's got to be more than $4 billion. It really has to be about $100 billion for them to really feel this and to maybe, stop trying to upend our first day. Mark Lewis says, Bud Light has lost billions but won't apologize. Target has lost billions but won't apologize. Disney has lost billions but won't apologize. Ben & Jerry's has lost billions but won't apologize. Warner Brothers lost $10 billion with no apology. My question is, who do they fear more than we the people? Stephen Kinder says, that's what they get for rolling over for Trump the first time. Bullies always come back for more. Other bullies see it, so they want their piece. ABC Disney will now pay the price for their feckless cowardice. They're already down $4 billion. And we need to really get in there and cripple them even more. I got to share this one with y'all. Y'all got to see the demon rats. Y'all got to see the demon rats crashing out over Charlie. Look at this. Y'all not going to believe it. Let me go. I'm going to go back so you can see what it says. These are the congressional representatives who voted yes to honor anti-Black racist and hate mongerer Charlie Kirk. Feel free to repost and share. Let me show you. Uh-oh, where'd it go? We got to memorialize this here. Can y'all see that? Look at the red and then look at the sea of blue. Something like 75% of the demon rats did this in the house. Let me see here. It's bigger here. Look at them. She may have cut off some of the repugnant clans. I'm focused on who Negroes consistently vote for. They voted yes to honor a man who blamed Trayvon for harassing Zimmerman. A man who the world saw got his life taken by shoving his knee on his neck for damn near 10 minutes, who stated he died from a fentanyl overdose. And this is who Negroes, by and large, keep voting into office to our ethnic cleansing. This. Have you heard the Congressional Black Caucuses come out in opposition to this? I haven't. Have you heard the NAACP, Al Sharpton, Jamal Bryant, National Urban League, Mark Morial? Where's the Pan-Africans? Food for thought. Let's keep going. This is what I want to share with you all. This is insane. Citizens do not have free speech or freedom of expression under the DPRK. The reverence MAGA has for Trump is very close to the ways in which North Koreans are expected to praise both their dear leader and current head of state. Let me share this. This is what I fear us becoming if we don't push back at the level in which both parties are trying to rescind our First Amendment. Let me share the screen. Thank you to Tara. Tara shared this, and it's going to make you cringe. Hold on one second. Okay. Y'all can see it. I want to memorialize it here. So, is America just North Korea now? No. If it were, you'd have free housing and no debt or taxes. But that's what Tara responded. Okay, in response to this. I don't think that North Korea is the most apt comparison, but it's not difficult to understand the point being made unless you believe in Juche ideology. Okay, let me see here. I'm trying to find. Hold on one second. Okay, let me find the list. She had a list. Hold on, family. That's not the list. I was trying to show you. Here we go. Okay, let me stop sharing that. She didn't do that part. Let me share this one. Hold on, stand by, family. Sorry about that. The wrong one. Okay, share screen. So Bella shared this. Shout out to Bella. Disturbing facts about North Korea. Make sure y'all can see that. Yep, y'all can see it. This is what our government is trying to make of us here in the U.S. A dead man is their president. Number one, Kim Jong-un is not the president, nor technically the highest ranking official in North Korea. That title belongs to his deceased grandfather, Kim Il-sung, who still holds the position since the country falls under the definition of hold on one second. Stuff is hidden when you don't have enough characters. I apologize, family. Just give me a second. Of a necrocracy, I don't know what that is. A form of government ruled by the dead, since he was declared eternal president after his death. Sounds like something Trump would love. Number two, generational punishment. Let me show you this picture. All the way down to the children. In North Korea, committing a crime would lead your innocent family to be in jail, as well as even if they did not commit the crime. 3 generations, your grandparents, your parents, and children will bear the brunt of a punishment one person committed. That includes free speech against the government. 3 generations, y'all. This is what happens when you don't have free speech. Number 3, strict tourist rules. Tourists have to undergo complete checking and are not allowed to capture any photos or carry religious text. They have to travel with a guide and cannot talk to the locals. There's a specific destination for tourists, and they can't go anywhere else. Here's the rules for tourist safety. There are 4 rules to make tourists in the DPR North Korea happy and safe. No cell phones to stop tourists from wasting time on the internet. Everything left at Chinese airport for pickup on return. Oh, shoot. It jumped. All tourists have government guides to show them best places in DPR North Korea. Now, when you watch that National Geographic video of North Korea that I recommended on ScrewTube, you're going to see how much political theater they engage in. The one where they've got this amazing mall set up, you can't even shop in the mall. It's just on display to make you believe that capitalism prevails there. It is going to blow your mind when you watch that video. Number 3, take photos only of mountains and scenery. It is the most beautiful in the world. No photos of the people or construction site. Don't waste camera space. Number 4, for safety and security, tourists cannot leave the hotel. Don't have to, because hotel very good with all facility needed. I don't know what would possess anyone to want to visit North Korea. Let me find this video real quick to show y'all what happened to this. It's a horror story. I want to show it to you because I feel I need to show it to you. It's important to understand what's going on and what happens when politics gets involved to Americans who visit North Korea. You got to understand that this is what this country is working to make us. Do y'all see that? I sure hope so. Hold on. Let me go back. No, you don't. Let me stop sharing this for a second. We'll come back to this. I want to show you this video. Easy access. Angela, I'm scratching North Korea off my bucket list. Honey, you better scratch it. After you see this, you go not just scratch it. You go burn the list and start over. Hold on, family. Let me show you this.
I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea, for your forgiveness. Please, I have made the worst mistake of my life.
This is Otto Warmbier, an American college student and tourist whose trip to North Korea turned into an actual nightmare. In 2016, he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor in a North Korean prison camp for a seemingly innocent crime that many believe he didn't even commit. After his sentencing, all communication with the outside world was cut off. As tensions between North Korea and the United States continued to rise, it's believed Otto was used as a bargaining chip. The US was able to secure Otto's return after he'd been held in North Korea for over a year. But when he came back, he was a completely different person.
He was put in a brain dead condition from torture. It was horrendous.
According to his parents, his arms and legs were totally deformed, and it looked like someone had taken a pair of pliers and rearranged his bottom teeth. Unfortunately, Otto died less than a week after being returned home to his family. North Korea refused to take responsibility, blaming Otto's death on a severe reaction to a sleeping pill. But the US pushed back, claiming his death was caused by severe beatings and torture at the hands of the North Korean government. We'll dive into what he allegedly did, but given North Korea's history of human rights violations, it's no surprise he was treated so poorly. Those who have survived the North Korean prison system have claimed that guards beat, tortured, and even starved detainees, leading to some scrounging for insects to survive.
It's the scariest place in the world.
North Korea is also known to use children for labor and, in extreme cases, give them the death penalty. Controlled by Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un, the country is considered a totalitarian dictatorship, with the worst human rights record in the world. Today, we'll find out what really happened to Otto during his stay in North Korea. Why was he used as a political pawn? And is North Korea really to blame for his death? Before we unravel this tragic tale, be sure to like and subscribe for more amazing survival stories.
Hello, everyone. When I was told that I'd have the honor of speaking at graduation, my first instinct was to find some keywords.
Otto Warmbier was an adventurous, hardworking, athletic 22-year-old with a bright future ahead of him. He graduated from Wyoming High School in 2013 with the second highest GPA among his classmates. He earned a scholarship to the University of Virginia, where he studied commerce, economics, and global sustainability. Otto had plans to become a banker, but wanted to travel one last time before he got bogged down with countless hours of work. Otto was no stranger to exploring foreign countries and was fascinated by their cultural differences. He'd been to Israel, Cuba, Ecuador, and parts of Europe. In early 2016, he was set to study abroad in Hong Kong for his final semester before returning home to graduate in May. On his way to China, he decided to visit North Korea with Young Pioneer Tours, a budget-friendly travel group that specializes in taking tourists to places they normally wouldn't go. Their slogan even states, "Destinations your mother would rather you stayed away from." At the time, the United States had a travel advisory that strongly warned against their citizens traveling to North Korea. Still, the tour group claimed the trip was safe, even for US citizens. For Otto, it was a no-brainer. He signed up for a 5-day, 4-night New Year's party tour. Things started off light and fun for Otto and his tour mates. There weren't any red flags. Well, except for one offhand remark. Otto's new friends gave him the nickname Imperial Enemy as a way to poke fun at his American citizenship. He was one of just 2 Americans on the trip, which included Canadians, Australians, and Europeans. All in all, the group of newfound friends grew quite fond of each other. This is the last known footage of Otto before he would experience the greatest horrors of his life. Later that day, they celebrated New Year's Eve at a bar, before joining thousands of North Koreans in Pyongyang's main square. The tourists returned to their hotel, with some opting to continue drinking, while Otto's roommate for the duration of the trip, Danny Grattan, decided to check out the hotel's bowling alley. All in all, it was a successful New Year's Eve. On January 2nd, 2016, the group was set to head home. They made their way through security, with Otto and his roommate Danny being the last 2 in line. As the pair waited to get cleared to board the plane, suddenly, 2 soldiers escorted Otto to another room.
He simply had a tap on the shoulder. 2 guards took him away, and I sort of laughingly said to him, "Well, that's the last we'll ever see of you." And because we got on so well, Otto turned around and just chuckled at me.
There's great irony in those words. So why exactly was Otto detained?
Looking back, I definitely think that there was a plan and he was a part of it.
As the plane was about to leave the terminal, without Otto on board, an official announced that he had been taken to the hospital because he was very sick. 2 months after being detained, it was finally revealed why he was arrested.
North Korea accused Otto of trying to steal a propaganda poster from a restricted area at his hotel.
On February 29, 2016, during a recorded press conference, Otto calmly confessed to the crime. He was seen reading directly from a prepared statement. Many people, his parents included, strongly believe he was being forced to confess.
On the early morning of January 1st, 2016, I committed my crime.
2 weeks after the press conference, the North Korean Supreme Court sentenced Otto to 15 years of imprisonment and hard labor. Now you're probably thinking, 15 years of prison for stealing a poster? Seems kind of harsh. Well, in North Korea, damaging or stealing anything that mentions or shows the North Korean leader is considered a serious crime. Still, as more information regarding that night was revealed, the facts weren't adding up. Otto's story started to look more like a calculated move by the North Korean government than a drunken mistake by a tourist. For one, the video evidence shows a shadowy figure taking down a poster around 2 a.m. There's no way to even confirm if it was a man or a woman. The timing was also off. Otto was with his tour mates celebrating the new year.
Were you even back at the hotel then?
No, the time didn't match up at all. I remember getting back to the hotel somewhere around 3 a.m., not at all before 2 a.m.
Otto's confession during the press conference also didn't make sense. Reading from a script, his statements felt coerced, as if he had hoped for a pardon. He said he had put on his quietest boots, the best for sneaking, to steal the poster. He also claimed it was at the request of the Methodist Church and the secretive Z Society at his university, both of whom had ties with the CIA. He stated it was all in an effort to bring home a trophy to harm the work ethic and motivation of the Korean people. Yeah, that sounds pretty sus to me. Of course, both the church and the Z Society would deny these outrageous claims. And on top of that, Otto was Jewish and not affiliated with the church.
I never should have allowed myself to be allured by the United States administration to commit a crime in this country.
So was Otto really framed? And why did his parents believe his arrest was linked to North Korea's weapons program?
This was a very sensitive time in United States-North Korea relations. So the North Koreans, you knew early on, would use them as a bargaining chip.
Relations between the United States and the North Korean government have never been good. And Otto's case had things going from bad to worse. Just days after being detained, North Korea had tested what was believed to be a nuclear weapon, and a few weeks later, a missile launch. This led to the United Nations imposing more sanctions against them, and the US government teaming up with South Korea's military for joint drills. In response to the joint drills, the North Korean government threatened a preemptive and offensive nuclear strike. So, how does Otto tie into all of this? It's believed he was used as a political pawn to not only ease import and export restrictions, but possibly enhance relations with the United States. 2016 was an election year for the US, and it's possible the North Korean government saw this as an opportunity to take advantage of. For over a year, both the Obama and Trump administrations were sending government officials overseas in hopes of bringing Otto home safely. Though his parents would spend months worried sick about their son's safety, they were reassured he was fine by the US government. The same government that initially urged them to keep quiet out of fear of making things worse, according to Otto's father, Fred.
That whole time we were told he was in perfect health.
By the CIA, by our State Department.
Despite this promise, it's believed Otto was severely beaten and possibly tortured while being held captive.
물고문은 있거든요. 뭐 내심처에서는 다 해요, 거의나. 네. 그렇게 많이는 안 했는데 그분이 감옥에 있으면서 간수들이 있잖아요. 간수들이 많이 때렸대요. 왜 때렸냐면 언어가 안 되잖아요.
Waterboarding is an interrogation tactic used which simulates drowning. It is illegal internationally and is considered one of the worst torture methods. If someone is subjected to waterboarding for long periods of time, they can be deprived of oxygen to the brain, leading to permanent damage or worse, death. Joseph Yoon, the U.S. Special Representative for North Korean policy, would lead the negotiations between the U.S. and North Korea over 17 months. That is until June 2017, when things took a turn for the worse. After learning that Otto was in a coma-like state, Yoon, President Trump, and his administration demanded they go into North Korea and bring the American home. Arriving in North Korea, Yoon admitted there was no guarantee of getting Otto home. They initially wouldn't even let Yoon or the doctor accompanying him see Otto. Following intense negotiations, North Korea granted Yoon and the medical team access to Otto. What they saw, however, wasn't the same kid whose photos had been circulating media outlets. Eventually, the two governments would come to an agreement, and Otto was finally on his way home. But that promise to his parents of getting him home in good health was broken. When Yoon first saw Otto, he was pale and practically lifeless, with a feeding tube inserted into his nose. It was clear that Otto was never going to be the same. North Korean doctors who were caring for Otto claimed he had arrived at the hospital in a worse condition than a year before his rescue. Later, it was revealed that Otto had been in a coma for 15 of the 17 months he was detained. Even though Otto was returned home to his parents, many questions still needed to be answered. And the most obvious one was, what happened to Otto while he was imprisoned? North Korea claimed that he fell into a coma due to botulism after reacting to a sleeping pill. But the US argued it was due to severe beatings at the hands of the North Korean guards. Returning home, Otto was in a vegetative state. His eyes were open, but he wasn't responsive, nor did he have control over his body.
We saw evil
in his eyes. He had seen just terrible things.
And he had been reduced to this animalistic creature that I couldn't hug and I couldn't get a feeling back from. It was horrible.
After medical exams and brain scans, it was clear Otto had severe brain damage, likely due to a heart attack. Surprisingly, there were no definitive signs of torture or physical abuse. There were no healing fractures or any signs showing he had been hit. But he did have a large scar on his foot, and his teeth looked misaligned, fueling further suspicions. It appeared that both sides of Otto's brain were damaged symmetrically, disproving claims he was struck in the head. Normally, a blow to the head affects one specific area, not the entire brain evenly. After 6 days of laying beside their lifeless son, Otto's parents, Fred and Cindy Warmbier, made the heartbreaking decision to remove his feeding tube. Otto Warmbier officially passed away on June 19, 2017. Otto's parents would go on to sue North Korea and win after the country wouldn't contest the claims. They were awarded $501 million in damages. However, it was a more symbolic win than anything, as North Korea refused to hand over the money. The judge overseeing the case claimed that North Korea was liable for torture, hostage-taking, the extrajudicial killing of Otto Warmbier, and the injuries to his mother and father. In January 2022, the Warmbiers were given $240,000 after the US government seized assets from a North Korean bank. Yet, no amount of money will ever reverse the trauma they have and will continue to endure over the loss of their son. To this day, Fred and Cindy have made it their mission to expose the evil that lies within the borders of North Korea. If you have any plans of traveling to North Korea, use Otto's story as a warning, especially if you're American. And be sure to check out our video about the worst things to do in North Korea, so you know what not to do. We'll see you next time on How to Survive.
Let me keep going with this list, family. I'm sharing these things with you if you're just tuning in to make a point. This is the country of our ancestors. It is all we know. And as Americans, we are entitled to our first A and our second A. And so there are just some things that we have to continue to fight to uphold, because we don't want to become North Korea and any semblance of countries where free speech and the right to carry is not allowed for the citizens. You must watch the National Geographic version of North Korea and its origins and how they became who they are. But this is all we know, and we must get in this fight. We cannot we can't just be solely focused on reparations and delineation and an anti-Negro hate crime bill than we are the other things that make us American. Because it is the first A that enables me to come to you and share with you parlay tricks through a Negro lens to help get support for my Negro Freedmen protest voter strategy, to call for national boycotts, and to encourage us to spend with each other. And I'm not talking if the customer service sucks or the quality of the service or goods suck. No, I don't mean for you to just go out here and support bad business just because it's Negro. I don't need you supporting bad movies like that one Marlon Wayans is in right now that looks very demonic and very satanic, even though he's Negro. It matters not. You're still supposed to use a spirit of discernment in the things that I'm advising us to do, which is weaponize our vote, socialize our suffering, and weaponize our money. Okay? But I needed to show you better than I can tell you what this country will become if we don't fight to protect the things that make us American. We were here before Columbus. Not everyone came on a slave ship. And so there are just some things that you're going to have to align with white folks on, and protecting your first day by any means necessary, not, to the point of compromising your freedom, but the things that are within your control. It took nothing for me to call up Hulu and cancel Disney Plus and Hulu. My daughter, although 21, loves Disney. Okay. I was like, no, I'm canceling this because you are in bed with our government to upend our First Amendment. And I need all Negroes to do the same thing. We've got nowhere to go. This is it. And so you've got to fight and weaponize the only things you've got, your vote and your money. Let me continue because I want to get to your comments. And then do my declare and decree over the puckery and our prayer of protection. Okay? Let me go back to this thing I was sharing with you all. Okay. I just had to show you that video because it's horrific. And I don't want us to become that. And I'm not just, listen, I'm not just fear-mongering. I have lived through. Yaira can speak to this. All of my Californians in the feed can speak to what's happening out here. How we've been legislated out of the beautiful state of California. So I'm not just here to fearmonger. And I'm certainly not here to trauma bond. My solution is the weaponization of our vote, the socialization of our suffering, and boycotts. Those are things that are still within our control. So I don't come here just to scare you into doing things. I'm living what Black folks in the South claim ain't happening to them yet. All the while it's happening to them. And just because they don't see it, they're going to want to argue me down, saying that this is not happening out here, what's happened to you in California. Because sadly, our people don't wake up until it's already on their doorstep. I'm here to sound the alarm because it's happened to me as early as 2009 with Wells Fargo Bank, getting rid of all the Negroes, bringing in all the immigrants. I'm telling you what I know because it's a lived experience out here. And my standing question is, when it happens to you in the South, where is the Negro going and with what? I am trying on this channel to prevent our ethnic cleansing by economic genocide with the immigrant. I am trying to teach you how to protect your home front. Because we ain't got no other home. Number 4, tourists are not allowed to use the local national currency of the North Korean won. In local shops for foreigners, one can pay with euros, wons. I don't know what that means. Spells. I don't know how to pronounce that. Because that is a won and that looks like won. Anyway, South Korean won and even US dollars. But it is prohibited to buy anything from the shops for local Koreans. Okay, like I was saying, when you watch that video by the National Geographic, which is too long to air here, I was explaining to you earlier that they've got malls set up like capitalism exists there. And when the tourists were in there asking, can they buy this, can they buy that? No. It was only there on display. They could not buy anything in that mall. And so when you see things that cast North Korea in a favorable light, it's political theater. Even them clapping and cheering on and acting like they enjoy their president. There's a whole nother side that the National Geographic shows you, where for 3 generations, if you speak against the government, if you caught stealing anything, you can't even sell in the open market. They've got the military, like this country is becoming. The military is policing everything you do and say. It's frightening. You must watch it and get educated. Number 5, most of the people in North Korea don't know the concept of the world. They only know that apart from North Korea, there are a few other countries like South Korea, China, and Japan. Can you imagine? They have been told that they should feel lucky that they are not born there. For the only way to survive in these countries is by selling their blood. That's what they tell them about the U.S. They have been told to thank their stars that they've got leaders such as Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-un who can feed them just enough to live. They're starving the people. They're starving them. You're going to see it when you go watch that video on ScrewTube. I'm going to tell you the name of it before I close this out. Oh, I jumped too far. Number 6, high school students in North Korea cannot choose their field of interest as a choice career. They are appointed career paths by the state from an early age, as early as middle school, which is always according to what the state requires. If they need more accountants, they will make more accountants. If they need more engineers, more engineers. If the state says they need to become something, that's what they become. They don't have a choice like we do here in the States. Number 7, North Koreans must abide by one of 18 approved haircuts for women and 15 for men. The hair of young men should be less than 2 inches long. Older men can go as long as 2 3/4 inches. Unmarried women must have short hair, and no one is allowed to wear jeans. This is what happens when you don't have freedom. Number 8. North Korea is officially an atheist country. All forms of religious practices are forbidden. Therefore, possessing Bibles, watching South Korean movies or pornography, oh, by the way, which the people who have defected from North Korea to South Korea smuggle. They smuggle in movies and different things for the people. But if they're caught, it's death or prison. It's punishable by death. Once a Christian woman who was distributing the Bible was arrested and executed. Number 9, TV channels. As per North Korean rules, citizens have only 3 channels and have to sit through them because they have no choice. Everything that goes on the channel is controlled by the government. It's also prohibited to turn off the radio. They have to keep it on 24/7. That's mind control. That's mind control. This is what our government is seeking to do to us. This is so much bigger than the murder of Kirk, who believed in free speech and exercised it liberally. They want to control your minds. They don't want you to critically think. They want to revise history. They want to remove history. Both parties are complicit in wanting us to become this. I'm showing you a peek into your future if you don't fight for your country and your rights as an American. Number 10, Wi-Fi and international calls. Out of a population of about 15 million, almost 1 million North Koreans own a cell phone. However, they may not make international calls. Foreigners entering the country may buy a prepaid SIM card to make calls abroad only. Number 11, only military and government officials have permission to own cars. Other citizens must use public transport. Number 12, calendar. For North Koreans, the current year is 112, not 2022. Their calendar is based on the birth year of their leader, the late Kim Il-sung, and not Jesus. Number 13, elections. Though elections are held every 5 years, only one name appears on the ballot paper, Kim Jong-un. Voting against him or refusing to vote, oh, Jesus. Just a second. My apologies, family. It's so sensitive, these keys. And I wear all the hats, y'all. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. Okay. Voting against him or refusing to vote, in other words, the couch vote here, or vote for Trump, or vote for deportation, closed borders, is considered an act of treason. And those who do face the loss of their jobs and housing, along with extra surveillance. Cannabis, especially marijuana, number 14, is completely legal in the country. It can be possessed, cultivated, and transported. Obligatory military service. All women 18 plus years after graduating from school must serve in the Army till they turn 23. Isn't that what this country is trying to do? Isn't that why Hollywood has our women fighting like men? In a lot of the movies that they're showing, trying to prime them and groom them to get ready for what's it called? For the draft. Number 16. North Koreans don't celebrate birthdays on July 8 and December 17, since those are the dates that Kim Tu-sung and Kim Jong-il died. Approximately 100,000 North Koreans celebrate displaced birthdays on July 9 or December 18 due to this reason. Self-criticism sessions. Number 17. The sessions include repentance, where people are required to confess their sins, and a criticism session, where people are required to criticize the wrongdoings of their fellow workers or neighbors. One must be extremely careful to sound sufficiently repentant while not revealing too much about their wrongdoings. Number 18, North Koreans believe that hamburger was invented by their leader Kim Jong-un. He branded a sandwich and named it double bread with meat. They also believe that Kim Jong II has never used a toilet in his life. He has a supernatural way of dealing with excretion. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't allow your citizens to have access to the outside world. You could tell them anything and have them believe it. Mind control. Number 19, North Korea enlists around 2,000 attractive women as a part of a pleasure squad who provide entertainment and sexual services for the top officials. So he's their Epstein. Number 20, North Korea is welcoming immigrants. When are you leaving your country? The end. I'm going to zip through the last of these and then come to your comments. In North Korea, there are significant restrictions on personal relationships and communication, including between friends. The government closely monitors its citizens' interactions to ensure they align with the state's ideology and maintain control over what? Information. In North Korea, it is illegal to say anything disparaging. Let me show y'all this one. I got to share this one. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. In North Korea, it is illegal to say anything disparaging about Kim Jong-un. It is now apparently also illegal to display FJB for Duck Joe Biden on your shirt while on American soil. If you do, you can be put on a no-fly list. Look at this. Hold on, let me get to it.
Just call Atlanta and speak to corporate security. Okay. And if you do...
So wait, Biden's America. A man was wearing a Duck Joe Biden shirt is threatened with being put on the no-fly list if he doesn't comply with orders to take the shirt off. Hold on. Let me see if I can. I was trying to roll the CC, the captions, but it doesn't look like I have that option. Hold on. Okay. It's hard to hear, at least on my end. It's about 1:21.
Come on the jet bridge, flip the shirt in, outside, in and out, right? So that word doesn't show. I will have to discipline the whole aircraft. No. I'm sorry about that, sir. It's just Delta policy. You cannot wear it. And they did advise me also you will be on the no flying list. Okay? So you want to come on the jet bridge, let's just flip the shirt and get everybody else to LA.
You have yet to show me something.
All right, it's a policy, and you can call, and we could go ahead and look it up online, right on the jet bridge. There's a computer.
If it's online, just pull out your cell phone.
But that's not inconvenient.
No. You're making this inconvenient. Because last time I checked, I live in the United States of America with the First Amendment, freedom of press, freedom of speech, and freedom of religion. Do I not? Ma'am, do I not? No. Do I not? Ma'am, do I not?
Okay.
Do I not have the freedom of press, or freedom of religion, or freedom of speech anymore in this country?
It's something very simple.
It's not simple. It's not simple. My dad served in the United States. No. My dad served in the military, so I got the freedom today. And now you're telling me I have to take off my hoodie.
No problem.
Wow.
In North Korea, survival means silence. Citizens face prison or death for films, songs, or even words deemed unacceptable. A society built on fear and indoctrination. A nation held hostage. UN report details North Korea's execution, starvation, and relentless repression. Look that article up if you're interested. Just a couple more, family. I did that one. Okay. Okay. So I told you about that. 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 Okay, guys, we got through the slides. Very good, class. Okay. Let me quickly go through your comments. I want to thank Yaira so far, my top producer of today's broadcast. Thank you so much, Route Trackers by Yaira. I appreciate you. And thank you to all of you who will give inevitably. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I especially appreciate my co-host. Oh, I did want to thank the person who was the producer of last week's broadcast. Give me a second to look that up, family. I like to acknowledge those who give of their time, their energy, and their resources. That's important to me. While that's loading, oh, here we go. Hold on one second. Oh, it's slow. Good Lord, what's going on with Cash App? Hold on, family. I don't want to get the name wrong. It's loading. So let me get to this. I'm going to be reading. Okay. Magnamon. I want to thank you. Oh my goodness, Magnamon. You've been given quite a bit. Thanks for not giving up on us and our future. Oh, wow, Magnamon. Okay. I want to thank you, Magnamon. You've been a longtime contributor of the Reparationist perspective. I'm seeing gifts from you that date back to March 12 of 24. Thank you for being a top producer of my advocacy for Negro freedmen. I feel like going on. Thank you, one. Thank you, all. Okay, we're just going to get to the pertinent ones because I've kept you. Oh my God, it's 2 hours. But we had to get through it, family. This is very important. Okay, B1 Beauty Supply, Pinky Wells. Yes, Pinky, correct. Disney also owns ESPN, KISS FM radio stations, and a lot of other radio stations nationwide. I worked for Disney years ago. Thank you, Pinky, for sharing that. Boycott, 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 family. Cut it off. Our first aid depends on it. I'm just trying to get through. Free speech, says Pinky, if we're not doing it. Yeah, we have to fight, family. This is our country. We must get in this fight. Yes, thank you, Herb Saint. Hit the like button, family. Guess what, guys? That's free. And when you thumbs up, it pushes me up in the algorithm to defeat ScrewTube's shadow ban of my channel. Everybody needs to see these videos that I'm doing. It's different than what the masses are doing because the line is on the line. We're out of time. So I don't have time to tarry about other stuff, especially when folks are covering it ad nauseum. I try to bring you things that are going to directly impact you so you can get ahead of it, okay? I read it someplace, why were illegal students getting money? Pinky, the demon rats are hell-bent on a whole new voter base. They opened up the borders and invited them over here, 25 million or more strong. The ones that weren't crawling over the barbed wire to get in here, they were being flown in. The ones with money were being flown in on night flights. These are the wealthier ones, usually more melanated, okay, like the Africans, because these are our replacements. They want our position. So the government's goal is to replace us as the voters. They need immigrants to vote them back into power. They no longer want us to be the swing. Also, they seek to ethnically cleanse us and upend our justice claim, which is why I fight for First A, because the revolution has been social mediaized. And we've come together all over the country to demand reparations, delineation, and anti-Negro hate crime bill. Really, it's anti-Black. You know, that's for all melanated people in the country. But more so the Negro. Because what you find is proportionately, Negroes are the ones that are being taken out by the lynchings, by the race soldiers, by the deputized. Okay? So yes, the demon rats were giving away our reparations and our taxes and Social Security because Joe Crow and Skamala flooded the country with them and put them directly into the Black communities. And so the resources are being used to make them more American than us, while we suffer the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, and underemployment to our ethnic cleansing. We can't get nothing that was earmarked for immigrants and illegals. You'll be turned away. So that's why they were getting money, because the mayors and the governors of the democratically run city and states are using what is owed to us to make them American, to ethnically cleanse us. Trump had Dr. Carson taking illegals off of affordable housing his first term. Yes, yes, yes. You're absolutely correct. Trump indirectly, I don't know if he can directly help Negroes. You know, that would upset his base because you know how racist they are. But Trump is absolutely, the things he's doing is really helping the Negro. But the left loves to paint him as our enemy, when it's truly the left spreading disinformation and misinformation about Trump. The very things they accuse him of, they are guilty of. Trying to wake the people up. But he's doing that now. And that will be next week's broadcast, where I'm going to talk about the things that he is doing that favorably impact the Negro. Whether directly or indirectly, it's helping us more than the Democrats ever have. The Democrats gave zero damns. When Kamala was running for the president, when she was competing with Joe Crow at the time, she literally told us while on the campaign trail, after announcing her race on Howard University's campus on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, that she wasn't doing nothing specific for the Negro, as she pretended to be us to garner our votes. She had to drop out of that race. And that's when the Democrats went about installing her. They had no primary. She was it and she was all. Okay? And myself and others in the grassroots movement were able to wake up at least 28% of our electorate to vote against the Democrats and for deportation, closed borders. In a way, they are. They both sold Americans to foreign unity and shared nations. I'm not understanding that, Friedman. Thank you for joining the live, fam. Others fight in groups. Too many of our people are only looking out for self. Correct, Pinky. You're dealing with the educated versus the uneducated. The boule versus the uneducated. But the beauty of it is, there are those of us that are degreed, like myself, who are fighting for our collective. The tragedy and the beauty is only about, let me ask. I want to ask, I don't want to get this wrong. Just a second, guys. I'm asking ChatGPT about education. What percent of Negroes, Black Americans, have advanced degrees in the U.S.? Here are some estimates of what share of Black Americans, non-Hispanic, age 25 and over, have advanced degrees. Okay, they're dealing with masters. I want undergraduate. Hold on one second. What percent of Black Americans hold bachelor degrees in the U.S.? About 27% of Black U.S. adults 25 and older have at least a bachelor's degree. That doesn't help me. And I'll tell you why. Black is flat in this country. So when ChatGPT says about 27% of Black U.S. adults age 25 and older have at least a bachelor's degree, without delineation, it's hard to determine what percent of Blacks is Negro. This is why we're demanding delineation. Okay? So let's say roughly 20% of us hold degrees. It is those like myself and the other educated Negroes in the contemporary grassroots reparations movement that are fighting with everything in us for the 80%. And we're small compared to the 20%. So you're right. The others fight in groups for each other. They come together to fight for advantage in this country in a way that Our educated, especially the ones who are anti-Negro, yes, you've got Negroes who are anti-Negro, they're the ones that have the larger platforms. They're the ones that get to go on national mainstream media. While little people like me are the little engine that could on a Sunday night. But I have to keep talking because I see it's effective. It definitely impacted the outcome of the last election. So I have to believe that my message is going viral, even though I don't have the numbers because I'm being shadow banned. Okay, I'm moving on. Hi, Leonard Deyuda. Pinky goes on to say, I watched a staff member of Trump say that if immigrants say something unflattering about Charlie, that was going to get them deported. Yes, it's true. This is what I'm talking about. Trump, who came in writing an executive order to end censorship by the government, is participating in it now. He's participating in it now, and it's dreadful because, it's one of the other reasons I voted for him, because I didn't realize how invested the Republicans were in censorship until the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's why, but I did want to come to you today to show you censorship is not just Republican, because that's what the Democrats like to pretend. The Democrats like to come Johnny lately and blame everything on Trump, who's only been in his second term for 9 months. We've been being censored since the pandemic. And I just proved that in tonight's broadcast. SJ, well, I see that lack of cohesion in my own immediate and extended family. Yes, SJ. I can really only come and talk about my views with my audience. My brother is a little open at the top. My baby sister will listen, but my brother's twin, she don't want to hear it. So you're correct. You got to fight family over these ideas, trying to save them from themselves. Easy X, I see you, fam. I want to see how members of the CBC voted on the CK resolution. Did they hold the party line or did they sell out as usual? Well, I would have to comb through that list I shared. Let me see something if ChatGPT can tell me. I doubt it, but let's try. How many members of the Congressional Black Caucus voted on that House bill to honor Charlie Kirk? I found some reporting that gives estimates of how many members of the Congressional Black Caucus voted in various ways on the Charlie Kirk resolution. The available data suggests about 43 CBC members voted no. 4 CBC members voted present. Uh-oh. If you want, I could try to get a full list of CBC members by vote, yay, nay, present, so you can see exactly who did what. Yes. It's searching. I couldn't find a fully verified, comprehensive public list showing how each member of the Congressional Black Caucus voted, yay, nay, present, not voting on the Charlie Kirk resolution. However, various credible sources report the following summary about CBC members' votes. According to news reports and analyses of the CBC, 43 members voted no on the resolution. 4 members of the CBC voted present. 4 members voted yes. 4 CBC members did not vote at all, not voting. If you want, I could try to compile a provisional list of names of CBC members in each category using roll call details so you have more specific information. Would you prefer that? Yes. Thinking longer for a better answer. Searching for Charlie Kirk resolution roll call. Oh. Can you just give me the names of the CBC members who voted yes? Searching. Here are some Congressional Black Caucus members who voted yes on the Charlie Kirk resolution per the House roll call, vote 282. I found at least one confirmed name, Hakeem Jeffries. I didn't locate a full confirmed public list of all CBC members that voted yes on reliable sources. If you like, I can try to compile the full name list by cross-referencing the CBC roster with the roll call vote. Yes, I'll let them do that while I continue to go through your comments. Great question, Easy Axe. Thank you for joining the live. B1 Beauty Supply, welcome, beloved. The Black American Negro has decreed and declared October 14th as Sandra Bland Remembrance Day and Police Brutality Awareness Day. So it will be. I concur. I shared that on all of my platforms. Thank you. Okay, my workout is done. I have been paying attention. Very good. Easy Axe. Panties only have one answer. Go to the world. Go to Africa. I don't know what that means. Pinky. We're going to hear from them all campaign time to vote for all those demon rats. We're going to continue the protest vote. I'm trying to get 50%. Angela, I'm scratching North Korea. You're so funny. Good catching you, TRP. I'm on cold. It's crazy how they took the death of Charlie and used it to push such a political anti-American agenda that many of us thought nothing about. Friedman, you ain't ever lied, family. Thank you for being on your square. His crying does not seem to be authentic. Oh, you're talking about the video? Yeah. Well, you know, I don't even know, like, yeah, it felt inauthentic, but you saw what ultimately happened to him. And yeah, that was just dreadful. Whether his tears were real or not, it looked like they, you know how they force our people into confessing to things that they didn't do to get shorter sentences. That's what this was. Remember, police in Chicago used to waterboard black men in the 60s to 80s, also used by the USA military CIA during the Iraq War. Absolutely, family. Very sad history. Yes, absolutely. Never going to Korea, period. Amen to that. Me neither. Interesting how the American government fought to sue North Korea to compensate the family even after Americans were warned against traveling there. He had the complexion for the protection. I got red hair. Can I get in on this, my friend? I mean, we're all kind of upped. No lies detected there. Angela, I'm not subscribed to any of those apps, but is there a petition one can sign? Not subscribed to any of which apps, fam? A petition? Oh, you're talking about no, if you're not subscribed to, this is what I need you to do, family, because it's not just subscriptions to Hulu, Disney Plus, or ESPN. There are other things that you can do because Disney and ABC control other things. And I think I mentioned some of those things in this broadcast, or someone in the chat did. But you want to just do a search. Let me see. I'm going to do a search right now and tell you other ways in which you can boycott. Like, don't go on Disney vacations, Disney cruises. Don't buy tickets to the Disney theme parks for you and your family. Hold on one second. What does Disney and ABC control in terms of other corporations in this country? U.S. So let them bring up a list and I can run it down. In the U.S., the Walt Disney Company owns and controls a wide range of media, entertainment, and related corporations through its subsidiary ABC and other divisions. Disney has built one of the largest media conglomerates in the world. I think it was Pinky who shared that they own Kiss FM. Boycott. Okay, ABC News, ABC owned television stations and groups, the affiliates in major U.S. markets, Disney Channel, Disney Junior, Disney XD, FX networks, National Geographic channels. Well, you got to watch the one on ScrewTube about North Korea. So then you can boycott. Oh, no. Watch the one that my brother recommended as well about Katrina. Freeform cable channel targeting young adults, ESPN, studios and production companies, Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, boycott Walt Disney Animation Studios, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Studios, Searchlight Pictures, ABC Signature and 20th Television, streaming and digital, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Hotstar US, other assets, Disney Parks and Resorts, domestic, Disney Publishing worldwide, books, comics, magazines, Disney Music Group, consumer products and merchandising, toys, licensing deals. In short, Disney and ABC together control a huge portion of broadcast, TV, cable channels, streaming platforms, film studios, sports media via ESPN, and theme parks. Oh, would you also like for me to map out which competitors Disney directly overlaps with? Comcast, NBC Universal, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Discovery, for a clearer picture of its market power. Let's say yes, because you can turn to these other places. Give them the sub. Give them your money. Hold on. Okay, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV Plus, Netflix, NBC, Paramount, CBS, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Warner DC versus Universal, Jurassic, Fast and Furious, streaming, Netflix, Prime, Max, Peacock, Paramount. Okay, those are just some ways in which you can make the pivot, okay? All right. Angela, I got family that works for Wells Fargo in Arizona and Charlotte. I wish you could speak to them because they won't listen to me. I'm happy to speak to them, but I know they're going through it if they're Negro, honey. So let me guess. No social media, WhatsApp, etc. in North Korea. In North Korea, there's nothing They have to listen to those 3 channels, and the radio plays 24/7, Yaira. Okay, they don't have any access to the outside world unless they defect and go to China or South Korea. Easy access. I have never seen or heard any North Korean comedians. The jokes you can make about this country and its leadership would be funny AF. Well, they have nothing to joke about. Their lives are very miserable there. And I'm fighting that we don't become them. Hamburger meat and excretion don't seem to go together. I appreciate this research. We have to be vigilant. Thank you, Friedman. And I thank everybody who appreciates it. Thank you for being here, because you see, it's late on the East Coast and other time zones, but I sure appreciate y'all being here. Skamala won't be running for governor in California either. She's focused on that book of hers releasing. The book is already released, to my understanding, Yaira, and it's not doing well. What's up, George Richard III? I see you, fam. Reparations perspective from Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, I'm going to put yours up there as I close us out. The moral of the broadcast tonight, family, is our fight, sadly, cannot be single focused. Our fight is for the country of our ancestors. We have no place to go, and we have no money to go with. So while we're fighting for reparations, lineage-based cash repair, anti-Negro hate crime bill, delineation, add to that your First Amendment and your Second Amendment. These are areas where we have to get lock arms and help in these boycotts with the whites in this country. This is all we've ever known since before Columbus. And so we've got to fight to protect anything that gives us a license or any semblance of freedom. Know that if we do not, we're on the precipice of becoming like a North Korea with dictatorship, with censorship. I hope everyone who was fired as a result of exercising their First Amendment sue everybody that was instrumental in those decisions. And I pray that they prevail in a mighty big way. As should you. Don't be so focused on the things that are exclusively ours that we take our eyes off of things that can actually harm us. It will harm us not to be able to carry. It already is. You see often that we don't even have the same rights to stand our ground as others do in this country, that our ancestors built with their lives. You must weaponize your vote, socialize your suffering, boycott, boycott, boycott. Because you don't have the complexion for the protection. You've got to use what you've got. And that sometimes means looking beyond the propaganda of a Charlie Kirk murder. At the same time, both parties are seeking to end our First Amendment. It's the only way we prevail. It was the only way for me to be instrumental in corralling support around deportation, closed borders amongst our electorate. If they shut it down and not allow channels like mine to exist, it's another thing that's going to take us out as a collective. If we can't speak on the puckery sponsored by our government. Let's do our part to ensure not only the first A and the 2A is preserved for us, but for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and our entire lineage. You are a Black American Negro freedman descendant of the emancipated. Don't get distracted by the other illusions that are happening as a beard for what the government is really trying to do. Take it very serious. Don't allow it to happen before you get active. I declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is served over all corrupt beings of the government, judicial system, including the police officers, CPS Child Protective Services, the deputized, judges, attorneys, FBI agents, the CIA, and all personnel working for the U.S. corporation with 3 Ks with wicked intentions. All hidden corruption and agendas are now destroyed forevermore in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states, across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. The light of God surrounds us, family. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Negro freedmen and our allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until we meet again next Sunday, prayerfully, or Saturday, just depends on how my schedule is, child. The ghetto. I believe it for each and every one of us. Let me back it up. Until we meet again, family, I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening, morning, and work week. And until we meet again, family, I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, reparations, delineation, boycotts, deportations, and closed borders, family. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining the live. Please make sure you share it with everyone you know, especially our young people, so they will understand that this fight is so much greater than reparations, family. We must each one teach one, okay? We must make these kinds of messages go viral. It is critical. The line is on the line. Thank you, Easy Acts. Great live, Angela. As always, peace, love, and reparations. Thank you, family. I'm going to flash that as I play the outro out. I love y'all. Negro freedom strong. Yes, I do.